just had a monstrous campaign. In particular, the semi-final ties against PSG, he was so dominant against the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, Angel Di Maria. I feel like it's not really a debate. Ruben Dias, best defender in the world this season, probably.
Welcome to the podcast. It's your two favourite people this week. Ewan is dead.
And he's also third on the list of favourite people.
Yes,
100%.
Me being number one, of course. He is on holiday and he just didn't bring his equipment because he was irresponsible, something like that. So, yeah.
Very unprofessional.
Ewan's not here. No, yeah, he is. But you still got your number two people here, me and Sam. We're talking through our favourite picks for Premier League stuff, Champions League stuff.
Yeah.
The final is over though. It's a real shame that the one Chelsea fan isn't here to talk about his club.
It is
winning
such
the
a shame.
Champions League final.
I'm so disappointed Ewan can't join us for this event.
To talk about it for about 20 minutes of a 60-minute podcast, that is the worst part. It's ruined my day, honestly.
Yeah.
I really wanted to hear him waffle about how much he loves his club. I mean, to be fair, this is probably the one time he had every right to waffle about his club. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because they played well. City did not turn up. I don't know what Guardiola was thinking in that final.
Yeah, it was so weird starting without it. I mean, you can talk about starting without a striker. That was one thing, kind of had De Bruyne in that false nine role. But that's something they've done a lot this season. But starting without a DM as well. I mean, their midfield three was Gundogan, Foden, and Bernardo Silva. Like, who's covering in there? You're not playing against Burnley. You're not playing against Wolves. You can't dominate the ball like that. This is Chelsea. They've got an elite midfield, and you need to have someone like Fernandinho or Rodri in there who can clean up.
Yeah, and when you saw the goal Kai Havertz scored, you could see exactly why they conceded.
There was so much space.
The heavens it's like Moses in the Red Sea. The 2% just left and just let him go through. It's like, yeah, bro, you go forward and just score a goal. And then even Edison had to come in and then sweep, and didn't work, obviously. He got, unluckily, because it was quite close as well. It was a great touch from Havertz. Bit of luck on the touch. But that is what happens, to be honest, when you don't play with a CDM. Do you know they've played 60 games? Pep Guardiola's managed 60 games this season. And 59 out of the 60, he's played either Rodri or Fernandinho. This is the only game his entire season he hasn't played a CDM. Doesn't make any sense.
He's overthought it again, and we've seen him do it before in finals. He's kind of tried to switch it up a little bit to try and out tactic the opposition manager, and it's failed multiple times. It failed against Spurs a couple of years ago in the Champions League. Failed against whoever, was it Lyon that knocked them out last season?
Yeah, it was.
Multiple times they've beaten teams that they should be beating. I mean, Man City have been better than Chelsea comfortably over the course of the season, and you'd think this is a team they should beat. Yeah, but Tuchel,
the sort of gung-ho thing just doesn't seem to work against elite managers like Tuchel. Just, you can't do it. Tuchel's the mastermind.
Yeah, and this is the third time that Tuchel has beaten Pep since joining Chelsea, which is pretty unreal. And his record, obviously it's astonishing, and this really puts the cherry on the cake of the turnaround that he's brought about, because 4 months ago with Lampard in charge, no one is touching Chelsea for potential Champions League winners, not a million years. Like, they were okay, but they weren't in the Champions League spots. I can't remember quite how they did in their group, but it was a fairly easy group at least.
Yeah.
Tuchel's come in and he's just changed the team so fundamentally. It's pretty amazing.
They had Krasnodar and Rennes, and it was Giroud who was going to carry it. I think Giroud is probably still third or fourth goal scorer this season for Champions League, just because it scored like 4 goals in one game. So they did good in the group stage, but I can only imagine under Tuchel how amazing it would have been. And I think what Tuchel brings is the more, defensive mind, and, just better tactics, more fine-tuned tactics. I think Lampard had some tactics, because he was new. He doesn't know how to adapt his tactics to different games, I think was his problem. And I think Tuchel is what makes Tuchel like the elite manager, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's bested Pep Guardiola, and that's all I can ask for. Yeah, because I didn't want him to do a treble. Honestly, no one was like. I think people were deep down rooting for. Well, not deep down. I think people on the surface were rooting for City because they'd never had a Champions League. But I put it this way: I'm not upset that they lost. I'm not upset that Chelsea won.
Me neither. I think a couple of years ago, I feel like we would have been a lot more like against Chelsea. Like Chelsea are traditionally pretty disliked club, but one thing you got to give to Frank Lampard is I think he made them more liked in the bringing through all the young players, the young English guys, Mason Mount, and they've got a fair few players that I do like, and I'm glad to see them having success. I'm very glad for Kai Havertz. He's proved a lot of people wrong in the last few months and scored the winning goal in the Champions League final. Just no one would have foreseen that. The first couple months of the season where he was really struggling.
Definitely not.
And N'Golo Kante, how can you not like that guy?
You love N'Golo. The way and the fact, keep in mind, Kante carried that team. As much as he did with France, and this guy he's gonna hop in his Mini Cooper and drive home now, which is just so funny to me. The guy is the most humble footballer of all time. And fun fact, N'Golo Kante is the 60th person in history to have won the Champions League and the World Cup. Wow. So, fair play to the kid.
Yeah, and I'm seeing him getting Ballon d'Or shouts now. I think that's a bit much.
I don't know. If he wins the Euros...
If he wins the Euros and he keeps up this form until, whenever they hand out the Ballon d'Or, then, he's up there. He's up there.
Who would you give it to him? Who else would you give it to? Like
Lewandowski would be my number one choice.
I would have given it to Lewandowski last season if we had it.
But he scored 41 goals in the league this season.
I know, but if you look at the Champions League performances, hasn't been there, has it? So that's why I would say. Whereas Kante, he's won it. The guy's won it, and he could win the Euros this year.
If he wins the Euros, then there's a shout for sure.
If he wins the Euros, he has to win it.
I don't know about how
he has to win it. Think he does.
You also have to think about Kylian Mbappe is up there as well, and
no.
His Champions League performances this season, he got him to the semi-final, scored. I think contributed 11 goals in 10 games, hat-trick against Barcelona in the Champions League. Killed it in Ligue 1 again, and if he dominates the Euros with France, then he has to be up there too.
But he didn't win the league it's a one-horse race.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not a team award. It's an individual award.
Ligue 1 is a one-horse race, and he couldn't win it. It's a one-horse race.
Ballon d'Or shouldn't be. You shouldn't take
Usain Bolt
into
and then
account
under 23s
in Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Or is just for who's performed the best on an individual level over the last year.
N'Golo Kante has by far been the best player for Chelsea. He's carried that team.
Yeah, for Chelsea.
His work rate is insane. You'll see him in...
I'm not denying he's a world-class player.
Extra time, you'd still see him sprinting back and forth, doing laps to the end, Sam. To the end. In a final. You got people booing him, screaming his name. But loving N'Golo Kante. You just can't hate him. You could be the biggest Chelsea hater, but if you saw N'Golo Kante's face, you just love the guy. He has to win it. I think for the sake of the Ballon d'Or, because we know the Ballon d'Or, I don't want to say it's rigged, but it's a bit biased, isn't it? Like the fact Modric won it 2 seasons ago is a bit mad. So I think Kante will probably win it. I'd put my money on Kante winning it.
It's all about momentum with the Ballon d'Or. It's all about who's got the most hype in leading up to it. Whoever wins the Euros, they're going to get loads of it. It could be Kante, it could be Mbappe, or if Portugal win it, it'll probably be Ronaldo. I hope not, because he doesn't deserve it. But
I don't think Ronaldo.
This is UEFA. It's Ronaldo. He's always in with a shout, even if he doesn't deserve it. But yeah, the Champions League final, won by Chelsea.
Still nothing comes close to that amazing. What is it, 1920 or 18-19 season? But overall, what would you make of this season's Champions League?
I really enjoyed it. There were some great games. The PSG versus Bayern quarterfinal, one of the all-time great ties in my opinion, particularly the first leg. Just gung ho football, no defending, That's what we love to see.
Just vibes.
But yeah,
Porto
like
and Juventus was fun.
That was good. You always like to see an underdog going far. I mean, Chelsea were the underdogs realistically, and they went all the way. So that is something you love to see. Fair enough. So now we're going to move on to back to the Premier League. Although I mean the Champions League final was basically
Hang on, since we're still there, should we do our best players?
Let's start with that. It makes more sense. Our best player in each role, not necessarily position. Like we're not doing a UCL team of the season. We're just doing best keeper, best defender, best midfielder, best attacker. So Jacob, who have you gone for as your best goalkeeper of the season in the Champions League?
Bit controversial, but I think Thibaut Courtois.
Oh,
now he in this season in general in La Liga has been insane. He's had an insane resurgence ever since Zidane's been back, and they've really sorted their defence out apart from obviously Varane's antics. I don't know what he's doing. He's trying to force a move out himself. Courtois, some of the saves he made, even in the Chelsea game, were insanely good, and Chelsea got some jammy-ish goals. I think some of his heroics, like in the group stage. I mean, we thought they were going to go Europa League at some point. There was a time where they nearly were touching Europa League, playing Wi-Fi passwords, saying that I'm not aiming in it next season, so I can't say anything. I think he's been the best keeper. You?
I went for probably the more obvious shout. Edouard Mendy, Champions League winning keeper, 10 clean sheets in 12 games is a pretty. You can't really question that record. That's unreal.
Now, I rate Edouard Mendy, and I did want to say he is my second choice, and he was my main until I thought of Courtois. But the split in time between him and Kepa is the reason why. He didn't play every game. I know it was some dead group stage games, but I think when you have two keepers that are a similar level, it's hard to just give one all the accolades when it feels more like a joint effort, in my opinion, when there's two keepers doing the same thing. But there's no third opinion, so I guess we just have to agree to disagree, don't we? We need you. Defender?
Well, we know the problem with this would be, we all know, Ewan would pick a Chelsea player for every position.
He would have picked Edouard Mendy.
So, we spiritually Mendy won.
All right.
Defender. Okay. I went for Ruben Diaz.
Yes,
I think this is a pretty easy one.
I think Ewan would have tried to slip Thiago Silva in.
He would have. But come on, it's Ruben Diaz. He got a little bit of criticism for his role in conceding the goal in the final. But I think he kind of had to drag himself across to watch the run of Werner, which, by the way, quality run from Timo Werner.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it was Zinchenko who just allowed Havertz inside of him. And overall, to be fair, had a pretty poor game, Zinchenko. I feel like that was more Zinchenko's fault positionally than Ruben Diaz's. And overall, he's just had a monstrous campaign. In particular, the semi-final ties against PSG, he was so dominant against the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, Angel Di Maria. I feel like it's not really a debate. Ruben Diaz, best defender in the world this season, probably.
Definitely, I can't really say much. I think on Zinchenko real quick. I think City just need a left back now. Mendy clearly isn't the guy, and Zinchenko isn't actually a left back, even though he's played there most of his career for Man City. At least. I think maybe go for Ryan Bertrand. He's free. Who, funny enough, won the Champions League with Chelsea last time. I didn't even know he was there. My dad was telling me. He called me at 1 a.m, gassing about it, because he rewatched the entire Champions League final last time before the game started. And Ryan Bertrand and Ashley Cole played at the same time. Anyway, midfielder, I have gone for Mason Mount. I think I got reminded just because I watched the highlights earlier, and that pass.
Yeah.
That pass is insane.
Yeah, say what you want about the defending, but you can't deny it. It's the weight on that ball is so
30 yards out, and not only that, he's curled it. You know when you go watch Winter Olympics and you see them do the curling, and they just know how to weight it, and sometimes they just put a little bit of spin on it and just get it around. It was that. It was that. It was beautiful. It was almost perfect, and it was so good because you have to think about the weight, the curl, and like to get the distance right, so it's not going too close to the keeper. And it's close enough for Havertz to get a little touch around it. It's just so good. And I know he's a Chelsea player, and I know this is really sad as an Arsenal fan, but I mean that is amazing. And it's a W for England at the end of the day. Euros are coming. Got a player like that who's going to be there. Yeah, I have to say Mount, and he came with the crucial goals in the Champions League as well.
He did, yeah, and Mount's a great shout, and I'm not going to argue too much with it. I actually put down Kevin De Bruyne. His overall performances, I mean, he didn't get a whole lot of chance in the final, unfortunately. Obviously, he was distraught when he had to come off injured, and you got a feel for him there.
He had some injuries to his face. He broke
he broke his nose or something. Yeah. But his performances up to the final, 7 goal contributions, I think, something like that. He's an incredible midfielder. But Mason Mount, he's won the whole thing, and you said, crucial goals, crucial assists. I'm happy to agree there with Mason Mount.
Come on.
Although I want to give a quick shout out to Joshua Kimmich as well. Also had an unbelievable tournament, but knocked out a bit early for proper consideration.
Do you know what? Kimmich in general, like in the Bundesliga as well. I can't remember the number of assists he's got, but he's got insane amounts of goals and assists. I think he's a bit underrated just because he's not a Premier League player, so not everyone really watches him. But from what I've seen of Kimmich, he does his work rate is crazy.
If not the best midfielder in the world right now, Kimmich, at least defensive midfielder.
Yeah, and what is amazing is that he is that was started from Pep Guardiola, which is so funny. Like Guardiola was the one who started to bring him into tried to turn him into a midfield role, and brought him into that sort of turning him into like a world class midfielder. And he played right back for quite a while. And between that time, he's been training it, and now I think he's up there. He could be considered one of the best in the world, really. If he got his chance. Yeah. I'm going to be honest about KDB. He hasn't been as good as last season, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
I know that the numbers last season were crazy. His pass completion rates and some of the stats. One of the things I always find funny is whenever you see like a crazy stat to do with passing or dribbles, it's always like no one other than Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Which is still always there. But I just think I'm not saying he's slowing down, but he could have done better.
Yeah, he's had a slightly worse. I think he won Premier League Player of the Season and all that last season. So it's understandable to have a slight drop off, but yeah. Anyway.
I still have that De Bruyne in my team. In terms of attackers, who have you said for attacker?
Yeah, I think this is maybe the best debate to have. There's a lot of strikers who've had really great campaigns. Ironically, the one team that got far that doesn't really have anyone that you could consider a top class attacker this season is Chelsea. Like,
I was
Chelsea
thinking that,
attacker is really up there. Like, Havertz scored in the final, sure, but before that, didn't really contribute a whole lot. Werner's obviously not going to win it. Giroud, he had a good group stage, but obviously not going to win it. So, yeah, you got to look a bit further. Also, Man City really didn't have anyone.
I would have said out of them maybe Phil Foden.
Yeah, Foden or Mahrez were definitely, they definitely had great campaigns. But in the end, I went for Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, so did I.
8 goals, 3 assists in 10 games. Like I said earlier, hat-trick against Barcelona. 2 goals against Bayern Munich as well. Just,
Yeah,
really,
insane numbers.
Yeah, and really put himself on the map this season. If he wasn't already, I mean, he was already at the map. But in terms of being right up there with the best players in the world this season, he has put himself there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love Mbappe, honestly. I don't care where he goes. I'm an Mbappe fanboy at this point. The guy, the fact that he has consistently impressed after his breakout season when he won the World Cup, which is an insane breakout season to have, by the way. It's not like this 18-year-old kid is scoring like 9-10 goals and getting 7 assists like Saka does. This kid is winning one of the biggest trophies at a teenage level. So, considering that he's not only maintained that level, but at the same time he is individually at least topping it.
Yeah,
that is insane to do at such a young age. So I don't think there's any. I don't think there's many contenders other than Mbappe anyway.
Yeah.
People who were as consistent and scored as many goals. Don't see it.
I think the only people who are also in consideration, you could say Benzema. He's really carried Madrid to the semi-finals.
Actually, yeah.
They would not have got anywhere near there without him. Lewandowski, obviously, great goal record again, and Erling Haaland, who actually the top scorer in the Champions League this season, despite getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. Yeah, he's got 10 goals. So,
oh my God,
he's right up there. And another.
Can we quickly talk about that he won the Bundesliga Player of the Season?
Yeah, I found that weird. Like, excuse me, Lewandowski scored 41 goals.
You just broke the record. I'm
what?
pretty sure that's like a given that you get get it because you should be one of the hardest records ever. 41 goals. Whatever. I'm quite surprised that Erling Haaland was the top goal scorer in Champions League, though.
Yeah. It just shows he absolutely crushed it in the group stage in particular. And he scored. I can't remember. They played Sevilla in the first knockout round, didn't they? And he scored a couple there.
He scored.
I can't remember if he scored against Man City or not, but yeah.
Does he stay at Dortmund now? Now that they've got Champions League?
Yeah, I struggle to see him leaving this summer. The price is so high, the wages are so high. Clubs are a bit strapped for cash. And now Dortmund are in the Champions League next season. They're looking likely they're going to sell Sancho. I very much doubt they'll want to sell both of them in the same summer.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
We'll see.
I think if they were out of the Champions League, that would have been a real problem.
Yeah.
But I was thinking today actually, like, because Sancho's going, like, who replaces him? And I was thinking, like, imagine if, like, Reece Nelson. I think Reece Nelson has got so much potential. Personally, I know I'm an Arsenal fan. I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but for Dortmund. He's such a Dortmund player. I honestly see him as like another Sancho. I think he needs game time, but he didn't get a loan. Send him there.
He did well. He had a loan spell in Bundesliga, didn't he? Hoffenheim.
Yeah,
he did pretty well over there.
Good. He was in the double figures for goal contributions, so I definitely could see him going back to Germany.
Still an underrated talent for sure, Reece Nelson. He's had a couple of quiet years, and people have kind of forgotten about him. But
Saka's coming, that's why.
Yeah. Some game time. I'm sure we'll see him. We'll see him thrive maybe out in the Bundesliga. Hudson had always been linked quite heavily recently as a potential Sancho replacement, and that could be pretty filthy, I think.
Could they afford him though? Oh well, if they're selling Sancho, they can definitely afford him.
Yeah,
if they're selling Sancho for like 80 million.
Yeah, the issue is like Dortmund, they sell massive every summer, but their record transfer fee is still pretty low. I don't know how willing they'd be to just splash loads of money on one player. That's usually not their style. But maybe if they sell Sancho to Chelsea, they could get a bit of a swap deal going. So
I feel like Dortmund have made like 50 million plus for like the past 5 years, transfer wise. I could think of Sancho's going to leave this summer. Last summer, obviously, no one was sold, but then they got like Aubameyang, Dembele, other people. There's no one I don't know. But Dortmund are great business anyway. Yeah. Okay. We should probably move to, speaking of Hudson, we should probably talk about the Premier League a little bit because that's over as well. City crowned champions. We didn't do a podcast last week, apparently. Just disappeared. So we should probably just talk about the last game of the season really quickly.
Yeah.
Tottenham beat Leicester. Leicester don't have any Champions League football, which I never saw that coming. Honestly, never saw that coming. I knew Tottenham was doing good, but like Leicester couldn't beat Tottenham. Ryan Mason, the GOAT? Question mark.
See, it was a bit of a shock. I mean, particularly the way Leicester got taken apart. Like, they scored their 2 goals through penalties from Jamie Vardy. One of them was definitely a bit dubious. Yeah. And after that, Tottenham just tore into them. I mean, Gareth Bale in particular, he had a great game, scored twice. Not so much. Kane got 1 goal, didn't he? I can't remember who scored the other one. Probably Son. It's usually Son. But Leicester falling apart a little bit, and once again, no Champions League football for them at the end of the season. And they've spent so long in those Champions League spots this season again.
They were second for a bit as well, weren't they?
must be pretty devastating for them. At least they got that FA Cup win to keep spirits fairly high. It's still been a great season overall. At the start of the season, if you said Leicester, they're going to finish fifth, you'd have thought that's a great season for them again. And the fact that they've been able to establish themselves in that top six, it's in the grand scheme of things, looking at the big picture, it's still a success, and they will be happy with it looking back, I'd say.
What I think about it is, I'm just thinking more about what's his name, Brendan Rodgers as a manager, because when you look at this team, like early this season, Leicester were a very fair team. They had an amazing start to the season, a pretty good middle of the season as well. They just capitulated towards the end. But what I'm thinking about is the European aspect, because they did so poor in the Europa League. I don't think people really notice. They went out in the round of 32, I think.
Yeah,
they didn't even make it to any of the
Slavia Prague.
Yeah, Slavia Prague, who we played, and then we beat them in the end. Forgive me, I think. No. They beat Rangers, then they beat Leicester. But either way, they didn't. No, Prague beat Leicester before Rangers, and then they beat Rangers. Then we beat. Yeah, okay. So Rangers did better than Leicester, which is insane to think, because they were second at the time. That I just have to think more about Brendan Rodgers' know-how in Europe, because especially now, the more I think about it, I think there are certain managers who just thrive in Europe. They know Europe at the back of their hand. Emery being the mastermind, because this guy has not only beaten Arsenal, he's beaten United, who would finish second in the Premier League. Like, there is a very big difference between domestic and European, and I just not worry. I know Brendan will probably get over it soon, but he needs to figure out how to master Europe quickly, because you shouldn't really be in Europa League. They should be in Champions League now, really.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and particularly they clearly didn't really prioritise the Europa League, which is a competition they could have gone really deep in. As we said, they're a really good team. They could have got to the semi-finals. They could have got to the final. But if you're gonna give up the Europa League like that, you have to do well at the back end of the league season, and they didn't. So it now seems like a strange decision to give up on it that easily. And another league bottled by Brendan Rodgers.
100%. That's his third time now.
He needs to sort that record out.
That's a hat trick. You know what? I just want to quickly touch on as well, because we're talking about managers, is Tottenham. I mean, I'm not going to lie, Ryan Mason hasn't been a terrible manager for Tottenham.
Yeah, he's done a decent job. Look, I can't see them giving him a job full time. The guy's 29. He's so young. And like you said, he's done a decent job. Could have a lot of potential as a manager. You never know. But I'm sure he'll want to get a couple more years at least under his belt, behind the scenes as an assistant manager, learning from some top class managers. And the question is, which top class manager is he going to be learning under for Spurs in the next couple of years? Who are they going to bring in? And right now, the really interesting shout and probably the favourite at the moment is Antonio Conte, who has left Inter Milan.
Who is it? I thought he was going to Real Madrid.
No, Allegri was going to go to Real Madrid, and now Allegri's ended up back at Juventus.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell is going on there. I don't know what's happened to Pirlo either. Is he going to become an assistant manager or something?
Sacked, hasn't he? They've put a statement out saying he's been sacked.
Yeah, so I don't know
what under 23s
for him. Yeah. But I mean, I could see Conte going to Real Madrid, but he's been pretty heavily linked to. Yeah, Poch is the other one. And there's been rumours even today that he wants to leave PSG.
He has to leave now. It's been official that he actually has to leave. So
yeah, so that's a really weird situation. Poch back at Spurs. I can't see it personally.
If you want to be successful, Conte is your man. I would love Conte at Arsenal, and I think he'd come as well. If we honestly offered him the money, I think he'd actually come. Just because he doesn't really care about European football. The guy is leaving AC team that just got Champions League. The guy doesn't care. He took Chelsea, who had no European football, and took him into no, that's not true. He took him into like a very rubbish team that were threatened to not be in European football.
Well, I think they were 10th when he took over, didn't he? And he took them to the Premier League title the very next season. So yeah,
this guy is a fixer manager, and he rejuvenates teams.
Yeah.
Do you understand how badly we need a refresh? Arsenal is in Windows XP and everyone else is in Windows 10. We need that system update, and Conte is the guy. He's the technician. He's Bill Gates. He's got the USB stick to just plug in. None of that more. No more of that. I don't want to see green hills. I want to see blue lights on my front screen. That's Conte. Do you understand? Now I like Arteta. Don't get me wrong. He's clearly got a vision, but Conte's vision is quicker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arteta is he's Windows Explorer. Conte is Google Chrome. You understand? I don't want to wait like 3 weeks, three seasons for us to get up where we deserve to be. Honestly. So enough of the computer knowledge. I was looking at my PC. I just thought about it. So I want him, but I know we're not going to go for him. I want Rafa. I know the board not going to go for him. I think looking at owners who love their club, you look at Chelsea and it's an owner who loves the club. The guy was there. Abramovich was at the final, and I know you meant to be there anyway. You're the owner, but it just makes me sad because when you look at the shift from when we had a Champions League final, the shift was immense. We went from winning the league unbeaten and getting to the Champions League final, granted we didn't win, to not even getting Europa League football. Huge transition. So that got on my nerves a little bit, just thinking about that. What we were talking about more management. The Real Madrid job then. Do you think Conte would be that guy? Would you think Conte would go?
I think he would. I think he would probably take the job, absolutely, and I could see him. At the end of the day, there's a lot of baggage that comes with Conte. There's a lot of side effects that are not so desirable. He certainly doesn't get on with boards too well. But at the end of the day, if Real Madrid wants someone to guide them back to the La Liga title, he is the man. He will do it. If he can do it with Inter Milan, he can do it with Real Madrid. I think the more interesting question is about Pochettino. Hasn't had the greatest times at PSG so far, and now he wants to leave. I can't see him going back to Spurs. That ended quite acrimoniously. But could he do it at Real Madrid? I mean, I think 100%. He's a top class manager.
Isn't he like a thingy fan though? He's like a fan of a rival team.
Yeah, that is the other issue. No, that's Barcelona. He wouldn't go to Barcelona because he managed Espanyol and he played for Espanyol.
Oh.
So actually, no, he'd be fine at Real Madrid. So yeah, I mean, there's a few other available managers as well, but those are like the two top level guys who could be targets.
Do you know what? I think there's a problem with PSG that's starting to be unearthed though, because if you look at managers like Emery, I know Emery's a Europa League manager. But if you look mainly at Tuchel has just won the Champions League. Yeah. With arguably, not even arguably, that is a worse off team than PSG's team. Mm-hmm. When you look at the amount of world class players that PSG has spent in the billions on, it's a better team. Mbappe and Neymar are definitely better than Werner and Havertz. But still, Tuchel has done it. And you could maybe argue that it was a less difficult team, but you get there for a reason. I think there's a problem with PSG. I think it's the amount of egos in that squad. Yeah. And people have said it before. The amount of egos in that dressing room is very toxic for managers. Emery talked about it. He said it was difficult for him. The people in that dressing room weren't taking to him. They were pretty harsh to him. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing was happening to Poch, where these players just weren't going to roll over for him. And do his bidding, and it cost them not only the Champions League, but it also cost them the league. It's a one-horse race, Sam, and they couldn't do it. I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Pochettino, he likes to create this kind of cult of Poch, doesn't he, with his players? And at Spurs, there wasn't so many egos, there wasn't so many big personalities. You got Kane, you had Eriksen, you got Dele Alli, but none of those guys are going to kick up a fuss at the level of like Neymar and Mbappe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very different job to at Spurs, and he still is yet to win a trophy as a manager somehow.
Really? Not trophy at all?
No.
He went to the easiest place to do it.
He went to the one place where you're guaranteed a league title, and he didn't win it.
If that tells you anything, I mean, he's a Spurs manager through and through, clearly, because that's rough. I have a feeling that would be like Kane as well. Like if Kane went to PSG now, I'd laugh if they didn't win it. Like,
yeah, I mean, God.
We should probably go on to our signings of the season for the Premier League, because we've been hovering around it for a while. We keep segueing back to the Premier League and then just not doing it. So how about we just do it? Should we go?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Alphabetical order or league table order?
I've got them down in league table order from bottom to top. So let's do that.
Okay.
Starting,
so we will.
Signing at Sheffield United.
None of them.
Signing of the season. Just nobody there. It was really a good signing. I think the guy I went for in the end is Jayden Bogle, young right back. They got him in from Derby for virtually nothing. He had a very good season with Derby in the Championship, so that makes me think he would be pretty good for them in the Championship next season. He had a couple of decent performances, scored a couple of goals, so I don't know.
Yeah,
him.
I don't know what that is, to be honest.
Yeah,
I literally said Ryan Brewster because maybe Sander Berge did he? They signed Sander Berge, didn't they?
Sander Berge was in January of the previous summer, so
so
not eligible.
Yeah, literally the only signing I can think of then is Ryan Brewster. That's it. So let's move on swiftly.
They got Ampadu on loan, didn't they? I suppose that's a fair shout.
Sure, we'll say Ampadu. West Brom. I know Ewan would have said Ampadu, and I also know for West Brom, you would have said Conor Gallagher, who, by the way, he has been their best player. Are we doing loan signings as well?
Yeah, loans are definitely included.
Yeah,
and I went for a loan to West Brom as well, though it wasn't the same one. I looked at Mbaye Diagne, who they got in on January. He looked like the only guy in their team who could really score goals when he came in. He's got physicality. Never played in the Prem before, but he kind of fitted in immediately. And he's been linked with a move to, I think, Watford. Now they've come up, so...
Good idea.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty decent signing. Galatasaray, I want to say.
Okay.
So that's what I went for. But I mean, Conor Gallagher is also, he's been pretty good on loan there this season. Yeah.
Fulham.
Yeah. Now Fulham actually made some good signings.
They did. They actually did. Quite disappointing they went down. I think people secretly wanted Fulham to stay up. I like Scott Parker as a manager. The players seem pretty cool. Who have you gone for?
There's a few options. You got Joachim Andersen, had a really good season. What's his name? The winger, Adamo Luckman, also looked good. But I went for Areola, one of the best performing goalkeepers statistically in all of Europe this season. And without him,
seriously?
Yeah, he's right up there. I think in terms of expected goals conceded versus actual goals conceded, I think he's second only to Jan Oblak. So there you go. God. That's pretty good, isn't it?
This is the best. I'm not just sitting here with the stat man right now. This is great. I didn't know that.
Areola. Without him, they probably would have been relegated quite a while earlier than they were.
I think Areola is one of the most disrespected goalkeepers in European football. I think when this guy went from playing for PSG to Real Madrid as a backup, granted, but Real Madrid. And then going to relegation and Fulham, this guy should be playing for. I don't know either. I don't know who they know. I don't know. Maybe they got some free promotion on Groupon or something. Because how do you get a keeper like that? I'd have Areola at Arsenal. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I'd take him Wolves as well.
Yeah, if Leno was going to go, which there's rumours he will do, I would have Areola as a replacement.
Yeah.
I can't fathom it, and I think he would get into most Champions League sides. Give him to Lyon. Lille's just lost their keeper to AC.
100%.
He could slip into like easier. Thinking about that now, they need to go for him. He's French. He's familiar with the league. As well. He would be cheap. I'd 100% take him there now. Thinking about it. So yeah, Areola, we love him on the Active Podcast. He can slide in there with a Mill-Smith Rowe and Lewis Dunk. Who's after that? Burnley?
Yeah, Burnley.
Come on.
This is probably honestly, I reckon this was harder in a way than Sheffield United, and in some ways it was easier as well because they only made one signing.
Yeah.
So like obviously it's him. It's Dale Stevens, but from Southampton, I think he joined for like 3.5 mil, something like that. But he's only started 3 games, and he's like 30 years old. It's just a damning indictment of Burnley as a club, the way they're shockingly run.
They're going to get relegated next season, aren't they?
They really are. If they don't sort it out.
I want Brentford to stay up, and I think they will. If they keep hold of Ivan Toney, they're going to stay up, I think. And I think Burnley will go down. They haven't spent any money, and it will be pretty damning of the football. I think people understand Dyche ball now. So it's just Brexit ball, score a goal and sit in the corner for the rest of the game. So I think we'll be okay.
Unless they're playing against Wolves, in which case they become Barcelona.
Well, it depends who your new manager is.
Chris Wood becomes Luis Suarez.
Could you imagine? Oh my god. So Dale Stevens. After Burnley, Brighton?
It's Brighton next up. Yeah.
I'm going to go through this. I'm going to see if I can guess the entire league table in my head now. Who have you gone for, Brian?
Again, there's not a huge amount of signings for them last summer. Not a huge amount of impressive ones, really. Tariq Lamptey joined in January of previous season. Otherwise, he would have been a pretty clear shout. Was that who you put?
Yeah. Damn it.
It's understandable, to be fair. He didn't really play last season, so it's easy to think that he did join in the summer, but he didn't. But in the end, no, Danny Welbeck scored 6 goals. Not played a whole lot, but been pretty good in the time that he's played. One of their more consistent finishers. The worst finishing team in the league. So
the XG,
without Welbeck, maybe they would have been further down there in the relegation scrap. So
it's weird that Danny Welbeck is still like a Premier League player. Like, he's been in the game so long, and he also hasn't been an amazing striker for that long in a while. Like since he left United, the moment he touched Arsenal, basically he was a dead baller, basically. But he's still like lower half in the table. He hasn't been bad. I know he didn't actually touch the Championship. He got relegated, but he's still been a decent player. I rate him.
Yeah.
Right,
so 15th place. Who is it? It's 15th.
It's not Southampton. It is.
I think it is Southampton.
Is it Southampton?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Come on, I'm having that because I thought about Southampton and I was
literally said
they were like
not
top
Southampton.
6. No, but I only said Southampton, and I was thinking about the fact that they were like top 6 the first half of the season, so they couldn't have fallen that far, but they clearly have.
Oh yeah, the second half of the season they were pretty much the worst team in the league.
Do you know James Ward-Prowse is the first player in Premier League history to play every single minute for 2 seasons in a row?
Really?
Ever. Never ever done it. No one else has ever done it. That's
pretty impressive.
That is crazy. Impressive. That is insane. He played a full 90. He's never been subbed off or come off injured. He's played full 90 for every single game for 2 seasons in a row. Now I know they haven't got any European football, so it's a few less games, but that is still pretty cool.
I mean, I've criticised Ward-Prowse a bit in the podcast, but
I love him.
No, it's not. I'm not saying I don't rate him. I think he's overrated. But he's not a bad player, and he's still an important player for Southampton. So fair play to him, and certainly can't deny that he is probably the best free kick taker in the Premier League.
Yeah, seriously, I know I suck at betting, but the amount of money I've made off Ward-Prowse, like getting shots on target from free kicks, I've made a lot of money just betting on Ward-Prowse to have 1 shot on target because they're going to get a free kick and he's going to take it. It's great. So that's why I really like Ward-Prowse. All right. He just signed the season. He's signing for Southampton,
But another team who didn't really make much signings, not really any good signings. In the end, I had to go for Mohamed Salisu, who young centre back. He joined from Spain for.
Is he the one that got the red card in his debut?
No, that was Yankovic. I don't know when he signed. I don't know if he's a youth academy product or not. But I went for Salisu in the end. He hasn't played that much, but he's looked pretty good when he's played. I think we ruled out loans that had been made permanent last summer. Otherwise, it probably would have been Kyle Walker-Peters.
Was that loan?
Yeah, he was on loan the second half of last season.
See, I just Googled it because I didn't actually know who they signed. So I put Kyle Walker-Peters because I was like, I don't actually know anyone else who they signed, and then I didn't realise that. Okay, so I'll go for your guy, Salisu.
Yeah.
Should we just swiftly move on? Because
I
don't know. 14th. That is going to be...
Ooh.
Do you know what's so funny? I can't think of even who's in the Premier League now.
I'm pretty sure it's Crystal Palace.
Is it... Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to get that. I was going to say Leeds, but it just wasn't Leeds. I think Leeds got top half.
Yeah, Leeds were 9th, possibly.
Yeah, they were. Okay.
So, yeah, anyway, Crystal Palace. Slightly better one, I think. A few decent signings. So they did get in summer, of course, Eberechi Eze.
Yeah, it is Eze.
Can't remember how much exactly, 18 million, something like that. But yeah, there's got to be him for them.
It's got to be Eze. He's torn up. He's done. I know I didn't rate him, and I don't know if you said it in the last podcast or podcast before, but I didn't rate him. But honestly, he has been. I know he's got a rubbish injury now. He's going to be out for most of next season. But
real shame.
His skill and the way he linked up with Zaha was pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
If it wasn't for Eze and Zaha, I'd reckon they'd definitely be in a relegation scrap. They would have been in a relegation scrap this season, and they still might end up in one next season. I do worry a bit for Crystal Palace. Their squad is very old. So 13th.
Depends who takes over, because I mean, I think Scott Parker's put himself in the shop window, honestly, and apparently there's been rumours of him falling out of Fulham's board.
That'd be interesting.
Get him at Palace or Spurs, one of them kind of jobs would be good for him, and he's staying in London, so can't complain.
That's also true. Lampard's also been linked, and I don't know how that would go. It could go well, could go badly.
Lampard needs to go to the Championship or France or something. I don't think he should stay there. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, right. 13th. You better know who's 13th.
Wolves.
There you go.
Come on, let's go. I'm gonna start because I want you to tell me if I'm being dumb for saying this. I think Vitinha has been one of your better signings this season. Between Vitinha and Nelson Semedo.
Yeah, Vitinha actually wasn't someone who we gave a whole lot of thought to in this. The only issue being that he's only started like 4 or 5 games, which seems weird because he's really come to prominence the last few weeks. And he's been really good when he's played. So it's definitely one I'm hoping we make permanent in the summer. I think the buyout is about 20 million, which seems pretty hefty, but he's got loads of potential. I think it'll be worth it. So yeah, I just think he didn't play quite enough for most of the season to warrant being our signing of the season. Maybe next season if he properly kills it. But yeah, I went for Nelson Semedo.
Yeah,
I think he's been really underrated this season. First few games, couple months, he got quite scapegoated for our poor defence, and he did struggle defensively at the start. I'm going to admit that, but he's really improved, and now he completes more tackles and interceptions than any other player in our squad, and he's right up there in the league as a whole in terms of defensive actions per game. He's a really active defender. He's a really great dribbler as well.
He's got one of the best defensive actions in the league. He has the best.
Not the best, but he's up there. He's up there, yeah. I think he's something like 4.5 tackles and interceptions a game, which is really strong.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And dribbles as well. He's above 2 dribbles a game, which is second. It'd be best in most squads, but most squads don't have a Adama Traore. So...
Because I still can't believe this against City. When you did the double over City, not last season, season before, he had 18 dribbles in the away fixture. 18.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, Nelson Semedo, one of our most important players in progressing the ball at the pitch with his dribbling. Really good in possession. I think he completes the most touches of any Wolves player per game this season. So, yeah, really important for us and underrated signing, in my opinion. Fabio Silva, in the next few years, I think, will prove to be the best signing of all of these. But, of course, hasn't, he's not
Will
quite
he be as good as his Football Manager potential? We will find out.
I don't know about that. Football Manager tends to have him down as one of the best strikers of all time.
They do think he'll be Messi, so
yeah,
we'll see. Okay, so 12th is I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who finished 12th. Who finished 12th, son?
I also don't know. Give me a sec to get the league table up.
Let's go find out who finished 12th.
Premier League table. This is a professional podcast. Newcastle.
It really is. Newcastle finished 12th. I find it weird because they were fighting relegation. Do you know what it is? And this is who it is. This is my signing of the season as well. It's Joe Willock. Oh, flipping heck, I need to drop all my soul set up. Yeah, it's Joe Willock. Hello? I thought I broke everything. It's Joe Willock. Because you okay, listen, I know you're gonna say Callum Wilson. I know you are. But you cannot deny because look at pre-Willock, relegation scrap. Post Willock, they finished 12. I didn't even know they finished 12. I thought I completely forgot. I thought it just brushed past them. But Joe Willock, not only that, he's the youngest player of all time to score 6 goals in a row in the Premier League. He already has a record.
Yeah.
He has to come back at Arsenal as well. He has to.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of rumours that they might be willing to sell, and that I think would be a terrible idea.
Unless they come with like 30, 40 million.
Yeah. I mean, I'd certainly take him at Wolves. I'd love to see him. I'm sure almost any club... almost any club from, I guess, 6th downwards, he'd probably be starting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean...
The guy has more goals than our entire midfield combined.
That's an issue.
He is the Aaron Ramsey thing, because we have been trying to replace Aaron Ramsey, a goal-scoring midfielder, since he left, which is 3-4 seasons ago now. And if he plays like that, he's a replacement, because, we're the only person who scored more than 1 goal from the midfield is El Neni in all competitions. So we clearly need to sort something out. And Willock has scored 8. I think he scored 8 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah,
7 in a row, 8 altogether, which is
a lot of them off the bench as well.
Maybe not more than Aubameyang. Yeah, a lot off the bench. So
ultimate super sub.
Yeah, so I really, really, really want Willock to stay. If someone came in with 45, 50 million pounds, then I'm not gonna get mad at Arsenal for taking the money. But at the same time, him and Bissouma or Partey next to him. If we play a 4-3-3 of Bissouma, Partey and Willock, that's
pretty good. That's pretty tight. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a Europa League, Champions League fighting squad.
Yeah,
and you can hold me to that.
All right.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We'll talk about who's your pick actually, because I know you didn't pick Willock.
You predictably, as you said, I said Callum Wilson. I know you said before Willock came in, they were in a relegation battle, and after Willock came in, they were up low half mid-table. But if Callum Wilson hadn't come in the first place, they would have been relegated.
They would have.
They would only have had Alan Saint-Maximin doing anything, and he spent half the season injured. So
COVID or whatever.
For me, it's Willock, in almost any other team, Willock gets it because he's been sensational since he's come in. But I think, considering he wasn't there the first half of the season, whereas Callum Wilson was, and he was killing it then, I think it's I'd just edge it towards Wilson. But yeah, look, Willock's right up there.
Okay.
Right.
I see you.
Aston Villa is next.
You ruined it. I was going to say Villa anyway.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. I was going to guess Villa, but I win. So.
Well, there you go.
Is there a debate between Grealish?
Yeah,
no?
there's Grealish.
Yeah. For Aston Villa?
Well, yeah, but he's not a new signing, is he?
Oh, do you know what? I got so carried away that I was thinking of player of the season, and we're not doing that. We're doing signing of the season.
I still don't think there's much debate. I mean, it's clearly Emi Martinez.
Yeah, he's the goalkeeper of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he's the Premier League signing of the season, collectively.
I mean,
maybe behind Diaz actually, but for the impact
it's one of them
he's
two,
put,
probably.
the impact he's had on Villa. I mean, first of all, Villa shouldn't actually be there, but they are, and the fact that he, honestly, because it's the same defense, but he has now taken them from, well, was Konsa there?
Yeah, but Konsa didn't really play much last season. I think it was Mings and Engels.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's pretty much the same defense. He had the same players, it's the same defense. But the difference is now they've got Emi Martinez, who has taken them from a relegation scrapping team, who should have finished in the relegation zone, who have now finished 11th, and they were fighting for European football at one point.
Yeah.
And they were probably only about 8 or 9 points off of it. That just goes to show how big of a signing he is, and I regret most days that we sold him, especially when I see Leno do antics like coming out of the box and handballing it, or getting weird on goals against Everton. And it's no shade to Leno, but I just don't think Martinez would have done that. He was such a strong keeper for us when Leno was out.
Yeah, he was. He really stepped up.
Yeah. And I know we got a decent fee for him, like 20 mil for a goalkeeper is pretty good, but like, if the option, because there was rumours circling back then that Bayern wanted Leno as a Neuer understudy, I would have 100% had sold him and kept Martinez. But whatever, that didn't happen, and we have Leno, and whatever. So,
there you go. Would Arsenal be in Europe this season if they had Martinez instead of Leno? A debate, a very interesting debate, maybe for another time.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, Villa, they made a couple of great signings this season. Obviously, they brought in Watkins as well. Matty Cash, they brought in as a right back. He's been pretty underrated this season.
I didn't know he was only that season. I thought you'd been before.
Yeah, well, there you go. Pretty under the radar. But Martinez clearly one of the, if not the Premier League signing of the season. 10th place. Who is it, Jacob?
That will be... Are they Northern?
Yes.
Is it Leeds? No.
No, it's close.
It's not Leeds.
But it's not Leeds. Come on.
Just tell me. I don't... It's going to
Everton.
annoy me. Oh, not that far north. Oh, yeah, I should have known it was Everton.
I mean, it's fairly north.
Yeah. Just... you told me. I was going to say Rodriguez.
Rodriguez probably...
He's been quiet.
He's up there.
Second half of the season, he's been quiet.
Yeah, for sure. But if you look at his actual numbers, 6 goals and 4 assists in 22 games for a midfielder is pretty darn good, isn't it? And for a free transfer as well.
If you say free transfer, then yeah. But I think it's okay.
But, I actually didn't say James Rodriguez. I've gone for Ben Godfrey instead. I think he has gone under the radar as a really top-class signing this season.
I know he's had a great season, and then I just don't think about it after a while. I know he's had a great season all the time. Like, the things he's done defensively as well, he's really strong. That's why he's going in the Euro squad. Yeah. And then I just forget about him.
I think one of the most underrated players in the league this season. But he's been so important for them in terms of improving their defence. Last season, their defence was pretty poor, and this season, it's been the best part of the team has been their defence. And he's not the only Everton defender who's been much better. Michael Keane had a really good season. Yeremy's improved. Luca Dean, of course, is a great player. But Godfrey's come in and he's really shored up that right back slot. He can play centre back as well. He's really energetic, flies into tackles. I love watching him play because he just absolutely gives everything, every single tackle. Not someone you want to come up against as a winger. And I think he's really underrated, and he's going to prove to be a great signing in the next few years for Everton.
Do you know what I find really funny that I didn't know happened? I didn't even know Everton made this signing. They signed Josh King from Bournemouth, and it was so funny because Josh King spent the entirety of his first half in the Championship begging to have his contract ripped up, like literally begging them, and they were like, "All right, fine." He did it, went to Everton on a free transfer, didn't play for them.
Yeah.
I think he's maybe had a couple substitute appearances. Hasn't had a single start. Played a couple of games. It's been absolutely awful.
I think at least for Everton, he's only on a 6-month contract.
Yeah, so he's leaving.
He's leaving. I don't know where he's going to go. I mean, maybe I could see a Premier League team picking him up. Maybe one of the promoted teams, but I don't know at this point.
No. Who from the promoted teams? None of them need him. Brentford certainly don't need him.
I could see Watford picking him up. Like Watford have no good attackers other than Ismaila Sarr. So.
Oh, Ismaila Sarr's going to go somewhere as well.
He might.
We'll see. We're going to blitz through this because we're waffling a bit.
Yeah, we're an hour in and we're only halfway through this table. Yeah. So you know what? We're gonna not gonna have any more of your predictions.
Tangents,
we're just ninth is Leeds. Yeah. And for me, this is a pretty easy one. I think it's Rafinha.
What a player he's been as well. The trickery and the skill he has is insanely good. So, yeah, I'll give you Rafinha. I also went for Rafinha, so you're going to have him anyway. Yeah. Saying that. 8th is
Here we go.
Club.
Here we go. Who is Arsenal signing this season, Jacob?
I'm torn between Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard. I think I'm going to say Odegaard, only because if you look at where we were before we signed Odegaard, we were relegation fighting, scrapping. And Partey feels like a January signing anyway because he was injured the first half of the season anyway.
He hasn't had the impact that you would have hoped.
No, he really hasn't. And that's a shame, but he's there for the future. So we've got another summer to sign someone next to him. Hopefully Basuma. Could even be Willock. We might not just sign anybody.
But
I think Odegaard. Who have you got?
What about Gabriel?
Oh, do you know what? I feel so bad for not thinking about Gabriel because if you look at our defense before Gabriel, it was last season. It was so bad. It was so bad.
But like this season, your defense is actually been one of the best defenses in the league. Yeah. It's kind of gone under the radar how good your defense has been.
Yeah, it was better than Emery's era. It was better than the back end of even Wenger's era. So yeah, maybe actually Gabriel was one of the better sides. I used to rave about Gabriel loads, but I think he slowed down towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely dropped off. Not a guaranteed starter now, is he? No. As well, you got Pablo Mari who's come into the team. David Luiz has actually had a really good season. So
maybe there's room for him or him and Saliba.
Saliba, God.
I hope he comes because he looks really good at Nice. He scored his first goal as well over the weekend. So
there you go.
It doesn't really mean anything as a centre back, but Gabriel scored about 3 or 4 this season as well. So if you have 2 goal scoring centre backs, it's also really nice. And Mavropanos, if people forget about him, he's had a really good Bundesliga season.
But Stuttgart, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gets really forgotten about. I mean, he's quite young, but he was in Bundesliga 2 last season. This season he was in the Bundesliga because he got promoted, and he's done really good. I think we'll sell him, and I think we'll get a decent fee for him. Honestly, so whatever.
Decent.
7th is Spurs.
Yes, it is.
Come on. Who's Spurs signed? Who did they sign?
Well, they brought in Gareth Bale, of course, who I think he's had a probably good second half of the season. I think actually Gareth Bale has the best goals per minute ratio in the Prem this season. So it's pretty good. Once he's starting games, he started scoring as well. But yeah, it's got to be Højbjerg for me as well.
Really showed up the defense. I think him and his chemistry with Ndombele in that midfield has been great. I know they play. They kind of just rely on each other. One relies on them more of attacking, and the other relies on there. And Højbjerg's more defensive mind.
He's really released Ndombele in his attacking potential. Ndombele's had a really good season, and I think that is partly at least down to Højbjerg just settling the midfield defensively. Yeah. He just holds it down completely. Really physical, proper Jose Mourinho player. But also, technically better than sometimes he's credit for. He's a really good passer. One of the highest volume passes in the league this season. So pretty important in possession as well as out of it.
Yeah, and I remember in the Northern Derby, he really helped cover Doherty. Yeah. He has a really good brain for that. Just
he does.
6th is...
Number 6.
You tell me. I don't know.
It's West Ham. There's only one man for West Ham.
It's Lingard, right?
Yeah, It's got to be Jesse Lingard. What a signing! One of the best loan signings I think in the history of the Premier League, probably.
I haven't seen a loan signing better than that.
Yeah,
seriously,
the impact he's come in and had is straight up unreal.
I think everyone forgot about him. He had like a decent season, like a couple of seasons ago for United, where he must have scored like 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah, and he got himself into the England squad for the World Cup, didn't he? And performed pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
But
he went on world tour, dancing on everyone's stadiums.
Yeah, but since then, kind of got forgotten about a bit of the Man United squad. Don't even know if he played a minute for Man United this season. Joined West Ham alone in January, and probably been the best season of his career, even though he's only played half of it. I mean, they
have to sign him permanently, surely.
Yeah, you think so. I remember their match against Wolves. He just tore us to shreds in the first half.
Same with Arsenal. He's got a goal and assist in the first half. Took it to 3-3, and then we came back. But still,
that was kind of the way it was with West Ham for a while, wasn't it? It was like they'd score like 3 goals in the first half. They did it against us, they did it against you, and then just like collapse in the second half.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jay Ling's the one and only. 5th, Leicester.
Oh, such a shame to hear. The 5th is Leicester. James Justin, was he signed this season? No, he wasn't, was he?
No, he joined season before, didn't he? But yeah, for me, it's Wesley Fofana. He's another one of the Premier League signings of the season.
He's one of the best left backs in the league as well.
Yeah, he's
centre backs, left back, didn't I? That was the only way he went all quiet.
I kind of did a face at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's come in. They've had some injury problems at centre backs. Johnny Evans been out for a bit. Suanji's missed some games, and he's been there. This is only his 2nd full season of professional football.
Really?
And yeah, I think he played about 20 games for Saint Etienne last season.
Where was he before that?
He came through the Saint Etienne Youth Academy. So
no way.
Yeah, wow. He's kind of partnered with Saliba last season, and Saliba was the guy who got all the plaudits, but this season has been Fofana's season.
Maybe they got the wrong guy.
Maybe he did. Although I'm sure Fofana, I'm sure Saliba is still top quality prospect. But yeah, he's been really mature, composed for such a young guy. Great on the ball. Can play in a 3 or a 4, and is still only 20 years old. So what a signing that was.
You've got like a good 3 contracts out of him. Easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, Chelsea made a lot of signings last summer.
Havertz.
Havertz. I don't know. I mean,
Havertz.
Last couple months,
the guy just scored. He just scored in the Champions League final.
But like for the first few months of the season, he was bad.
Yeah, but
and he cost a heck of a lot. Of money.
So was everyone in that team.
Yeah, but I tell you someone who wasn't bad.
Who?
And who joined for a lot less. Thiago Silva.
He's old, Sam.
Yeah, but he came in on a free transfer, and he's been so good. And he's a leader.
He's been good. I wouldn't say so good.
He has been so good. He's been their one consistent centre back throughout the season. First half of the season, Zuma was good. Second half dropped off. Second half of the season, Rudiger and Christensen have been good, but first half of the season they weren't really there. Constant presence throughout the season has been Thiago Silva. And I think he's been one of the most important players for them in their Champions League run. Like, their defence has been so solid under Tuchel, and he has been a huge part of that.
Maybe I'm just being
and his presence as well. I think, like, if we look over the next 6 or 7 years, Havertz is going to prove to be like the number one signing out of all these guys, and probably one of the best signings in Chelsea's history because he's so talented, and he's going to be a superstar. But I think just if you look at the whole season, he wasn't really playing up to standard for the first part of it. So I've gone for Thiago Silva.
All right, fine. Third is Liverpool, who didn't even sign. I can think of like Kabak is the only one
They got in Kabak and Davies in the January, didn't they? As centre backs. I don't think Davies has played a minute.
No.
But they did bring in Jota in the summer. who
Jota wins. That simple.
Yeah.
He is completely revitalised. He has kicked out Sadio Mane.
He really has. Mane or Firmino, one of the two. He's kind of kicked both of them out, to be honest.
Yeah. Does Mane leave? Does Mane leave in your eyes? No?
I can't see it happening. I would, if I was Liverpool, I would definitely look to sell Firmino over Mane. I still think Mane's a top class player. This has been one down year, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. Whereas Firmino, it's been coming. You know, it's been a couple of years since he's been the world class striker that we remember. So for me, it's Firmino of those three who's got to drop out. But I'm not sure that Jota is necessarily the man to come in and replace him as a stand-out striker, along with Mane and Salah. I think they need someone who's a bit more of a link-up player, kind of in the Firmino, like elite Firmino mould. Because the thing with Mane and Salah and Jota is they're all off-the-ball players. They're like making runs in behind, getting on the end of passes, finishing things. They're less creative forces, although Salah is still really good creatively. So I think with Jota in that front three, along with Mane and Salah, I'm not sure that it's that balanced. I definitely think they need to sign a striker in the summer. But he's had a really good impact, Jota.
Maybe they dodged the bullet not getting Werner though. I keep thinking about
100%.
They signed Werner. That would be funny. United. Donny van de Beek. No, I cannot believe that signing though. I feel so bad for the guy because he hasn't been that poor. He just hasn't played. I don't really know what's going on with him. But I actually, funny enough, it's going to sound really weird and really backwards to say this, but I think Alex Tellers, for his impact on Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Because Luke Shaw just turned into prime Roberto Carlos. Because he saw Tellers come through and he was like, nah, I need to sort myself out now because they're trying to replace me.
Yeah,
and he's turned into one of the best left back. He is, this season he's been the best left back in the league. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Europe.
Not quite. Theo Hernandez, AC Milan. Beast.
I don't watch the face Milan. I'm not a football nerd, unfortunately. I'm not close enough as you. But yeah, okay, fine. He's been up there though.
He's been the best in the league. He's been the best in the league for sure. I can see that Alex Tellers' his impact on another player, bit unorthodox for signing the season, but you know.
Who would you have said?
I would say Edinson Cavani. I just think free transfer, particularly second half of the season, he's been so good. The guy's ability to find space in the box is unrivaled, I think, pretty much worldwide.
That goal he scored against Fulham as well.
Oh my god.
That is one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen.
Yeah. Ever. Ignoring the fact that it definitely should have been ruled out for offside.
Yes, I don't think Bruno Fernandes actually touched the ball. So.
Yeah. But it's good for me because the fact that they judged that he did extra points on FPL.
Come on.
Edinson Cavani. And it looks like he's going to sign a new contract in the summer.
Yeah.
After it looked like he was going to leave at one point, but now an extra season of Cavani can only be a great thing for Man United.
Very entertaining to watch. Yeah. Like it's just heading everything. It's amazing. I guess we just kind of splits the city because it's obviously Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, pretty clearly.
I think I would give him my signing of the season as well, honestly. Just the impact he's made.
Yeah, I think for me it's either him, Emi Martinez, or Callum Wilson. Maybe Jesse Lingard in there as well.
You gotta let go of Callum Wilson, man. You've got to let go of him.
Mate, he saved
let him
relegation.
Go. Let him go.
He saved Newcastle.
Oh
but anyway,
my god.
They should erect a statue of Callum Wilson outside St James's Park because he saved them. He is their Jesus.
Saint Wilson. Okay, well, fine. We'll agree to disagree.
I didn't say he was my signing of the season. I'll agree with you on Ruben Diaz. The impact he's had on their defence. Although I think at least a fair bit of their defensive improvement has been Pep. The kind of tactical shift that occurred, I'd say probably November time, because they started the season pretty badly. They were down in like 10th. But yeah, Ruben Diaz, he's been the best defender in the world. We gave him our Champions League Defender of the Season and Premier League Signer of the Season. Goes pretty well with that.
Do you see what happens when Ewan isn't here? Like look how we get on. You see what happens? Ewan is the source of chaos. Figure it out now. Get him off. All right. Fine. Well, that is our Premier League signings of the season. I hope you enjoyed this little 2-man thing. We just waffle and have a little riff-raff about football and stuff. Join the fantasy thing. The code will be in the description or on the screen somewhere. The master editor. I don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, the code will be on the screen. It's possible it might not work, to be honest.
Great, tell them that.
So, but, click on the link in the description. If you haven't made an account, then you have to click on the link, make an account, and then click on the link again. It's a little complex, but at the end of the day, it's not that hard.
You will win 60 quid if you win, though. Believe it.
There it is.
There you go.
You'll be rich. Rolling in dosh if you win this. And it shouldn't be too hard to win it, because all of us are stupid. So,
as you've clearly seen from people slating us and our opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Yeah. See ya.